All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's exclusive Simpler Trading event. You're about to hear from a trader who doesn't just talk about results, he shows them. Since April, TG has grown his account from 112,000 to over 725,000, a 420% gain, using his high conviction setups and the proven Moxie system. Tonight, TG's pulling back the curtain on the exact patterns, volume spikes, and conviction signals that's helped him nail trade after trade. And he's also issuing a rare warning sign about what he sees coming next in the market. So get ready, grab your notepad, silence distractions, and lean on in. Because by the end of this session, you'll see exactly how TG identifies and executes his high conviction trades with confidence, even when the market feels chaotic. Please join me in welcoming the Director of Stocks here at Simpler Trading, Mr. T.G. Watkins.
All right. Well, thank you, Daryl. Let's make sure that everything is good to go. Hopefully a thumbs up in the chat and also in the Slack. I got you guys up here too. And yeah, even Daryl getting a little spooky out there. Everyone keeps talking about October and like the October surprise. And yeah, we've got some stuff to talk about. I think you guys have started seeing that with the markets even today, huh? So let me throw the video on real quick. See if this actually, I don't even know if this is working, but hopefully you guys can see my camera and got the little, I don't know, I think I have a background, a beachy background going on. And the whole idea, my wife and I were just talking today about our New Year's plans, and we're trying to decide, do we want to go someplace up north where it's snowing and go skiing, or we're going to go someplace south where it's all beach oriented. So it's a debate right now. So we're going to figure that out. Anyway, I'm on my laptop. I'm traveling right now, so I'm just in a hotel room, and so I'll keep the camera off since not much is going on here for that anyway. All right. Yes, good. Good to see everything is working here. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. So let's get started. I'll be with you for probably about an hour. I haven't really rehearsed this as far as timing wise, but that's usually what it works out to be. I will answer questions if I can along the way, but for the most part, towards the end, happy to answer anything. I know the team will be collecting them too. So if you guys have anything pertinent, yeah, be sure to ask and I'll do my best to answer them. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about how to trade with conviction, even when the market feels chaotic, because, well, it's kind of been that way for the last few days. How did everybody enjoy last Friday? That's another thing we're going to be talking about. So I got some fun stuff here that you guys can be looking into. Okay, remember this is for educational purposes only. We're all going to have a good time here. We'll leave the lawyers out of it and we'll carry on. Okay, so this is the fun stuff. For anybody who doesn't know me, this is kind of like the big splash page, kind of show you what I'm capable of. The people who have been subscribers in the Moxie Room, some of our best traders have been enjoying some gains like this too, because they have been along for the ride with me. Part of this is I nailed the April lows due to clear and repeatable signals that I'm going to show you later in this presentation about those tariff tantrum lows. I know people think, it's all politics and, how could you predict it? And I'm not saying I predicted it, but the signs were there. We had signs, we had signals. I could show you guys this is how it worked. And I was seeing the same kind of things leading up to last week, leading up to last Friday when the market dropped like that. And those are the things I want to show you. But this was a 1,400% account gain based off of a 2,061% gain on one single trade. It turned $38,000 into actually $683,000. And that was just one of my accounts. So I have multiple accounts like that. That was just one of them. And then another account that I have, you can see here, it went from 140,000 to 725,000. It's 420% in 6 months. Elon would be proud. And you can see here this big jump. It almost looks like somebody just dropped a bunch of money into the account, but no, that was actually that trade. It was a combination of options and stock on a leverage ETF. I'm kind of the leverage ETF guy, so that's what we're going to be doing. By the way, have you guys heard there are now like 5x leverage ETFs that are coming out? So that's pretty cool. Okay, looks like we're still good to go out there with the team, so make sure we're good. All right, now we're gonna have a little bit of fun with today's presentation because, of course, I can't make the whole presentation just one day, so I have to kind of start collecting things and looking at stuff and seeing what's going on. And I started building this last week. And those of us in the Moxie room, you guys know I've been talking about this and like, something's happening, something's lurking out there. We didn't know when it was going to trigger. And of course, I'm trying to plan for my presentation. That's today. And so in this presentation, I'm going to show you the original presentation. and then the modified one based on the very, very rapidly moving current events from last Friday to even today that I think is important that I'm going to be talking about as we go on with this presentation. So stick around to the end because I'm going to show you guys exactly the stuff that's happening even today that I think is important. We all know that we have OPEX tomorrow, and then tomorrow might get spicy or they might hold it and then wait till next week. But something is coming out there. We're going to get some spiciness. So anyway, this was October 9th, if you can see that. And I just kind of have to laugh as I was making this because I was like, okay, I'm coming across, I'm seeing something. I have a lot of things I want to talk to people. This was the before. And this is what I've been talking about. I put it out on X, I put it out on YouTube, all these things. You can see the Moxie indicator came up. We had our Moxie indicator price trigger fire on the VIX. We had it fire on the UVIX. And we noticed that the UVIX was not going down, even though the market kept going higher. So I kept saying like something's lurking. I don't know what's going to happen, but something's going to happen. Boom. Now we know. Look at this. As it turns out, Trump posted a very aggressive response to China putting export controls on rare earth minerals. Okay. Uh, yes, it feels like that kind of came out of the blue. Yes, it kind of feels like, crazy politics and all that kind of stuff. But we know, those of us in the market and watching this and with their indicators, with the Moxie, all this kind of stuff, we know that something like this, something the market was getting ready for something, it was just waiting for the right something to trigger. And now we know what the trigger was. I put out YouTube videos 2 weeks ago, 7 days ago, on these things. I was telling people ahead of time something was going on, and we were able to take advantage of this. So this is just one of my accounts, but down here you can see I went long on the UVX, shorted the SOXL, shorted FNGU, and long on TZA. And on Friday alone, we cashed in this. I think we had call credit spreads. We had a lot of things going on. And just this one account, I made $58,000 in one day on that downside move. So that was pretty nice. I know a lot of you guys succeeded and had good hedges on and all of that as well. We're going to be talking more about the VIX later because did you guys look at it today? Yeah, there's something going on, definitely. But yeah, you can see here, look at this crazy move that we had. And it was, I mean, we saw it coming because you could see the Moxie price trigger was lit up on these time frames and things were letting us know. Now, of course, after Friday, we know that it seems to be a misunderstanding between China and the Trump administration, and both sides are trying to smooth things out and kind of walk it back. Now, that's a moving thing. It's a living, breathing thing. I hear there's some more news kind of this week, but just understand that we don't know everything. I don't know everything. And politicians say political things. And so, we just try to trade the market for what we have. And so as we continue going through this, this is kind of those things where, flying taught me discipline. If you don't take off without going through your checklist, then you can really, kill yourself. And if you don't do this with your trading account, then you can kill your trading account. And so this is what I do. Trading is the same way. Every trade has a pre-flight check. And it's this kind of discipline and this routine and this process. And this process is what I can actually communicate to you guys. I have these rules written down. I have the checklist. I teach it to you guys. I instill this discipline and these values into you so that you can actually have some structure to work with and know how to move forward with this. And that's where the pilot and the aviation stuff has really kind of helped me with my trading. This was a letter that was just sent to me over the weekend, partly because of the big move that happened on Friday, because I think a lot of people think it just kind of came out of the blue and like, oh my gosh. And, of course, it broke records and everything. And so I'm going to read this to you. And this isn't for, my own benefit or, trying to show you guys, oh, look how awesome it is. What the point of this letter is that this is the kind of stuff, this is the benefit of being in the Moxie room and what people get from it. Because I think a lot of people are like, oh, it's a trading room. Like, what am I going to do? Just going to feed me trades. Like, no, I give people understanding and market context and timing. And so this person, David, was saying, your coaching last week was beyond awesome. You help my time in the markets in the most insightful way. It's so apparent that you love the markets first, mentoring right after that. I don't think, well, I know that most new traders, there you go, have no idea what they have latched onto when they have found me in the Moxie room. He's a formal local floor trader on the New York Cotton Exchange when it was in the World Trade Center. I've been around a lot of good traders, so my praise is from experience. I love markets and trading. I have also been blessed with a very busy, successful business and unable to keep up with the markets like I need to in order to be as active of a trader as I like, till I got into the Moxie room with you. I can't always tune in every day or the whole period, but when I can't, your alerts keep me posted. I appreciate your discipline to get out of a trade as soon as it appears it's not working, and just as important, taking money off the table timely with caution in mind. This sums up everything that was what I do and what I try to bring into the Moxie room, especially last week. And again, this week for what I think is going to be starting to happen in the markets over the next, I don't know, couple weeks or something like that. We took some money off the table today. We got cautious. I've been communicating this to the subscribers. We put on some hedges, and I'm making sure that people stay up to speed with what's going on out there. And what they do is you guys are hiring me for guidance. Okay, because I'm not moving your own money. You guys are in control of your own account and everything else like that. But think of me as a guidance counselor for your account and for the market so that you can see when things are starting to happen. We don't want to have this stuff just come out of the blue and then you get wrecked. And so part of that, like a lot of you, I didn't start out knowing how to trade. I had to build a system that replaced emotion with structure so I could stop guessing and start executing. And my dad actually was the one who started bringing me around to some of these stock trading seminars, I mean, literally just like this. I mean, huge room. Actually, first ones were in Texas, ironically enough. And I just remember when I was younger, I actually asked one of the leaders or coaches early on. I said, "Hey, is this really possible? Do people actually make money and income from this?" And he said, "Absolutely. You just have to learn how to do it. Nobody was born knowing how to do this, so you have to learn it." And I was like, "Oh, well, if you have to learn it, then it's teachable, and if it's teachable, it's learnable, and yeah, I can do this." And that was one of the things that really kept me going, especially during the challenging times, is it is possible. And now, come, full circle, several years later, I am now up on stage with the bests up here teaching you guys, telling you my experiences and how I came from, 12 years old, my dad put me in a room like this to now I'm up there presenting in front of the room. So it's really pretty amazing where I've gone and how I help people. And that's really what I'm here for, is to instill in you the experiences and the lessons that I have learned. All right, now this is a little bit fun. For those of you in the know, Chuckle Cartel made this this picture. Obviously, Top Gun, Prophet Pilot. I'm a pilot. I like this kind of stuff. He made this. I think this might have to be my new photo going forward. So yeah, who's TG Watkins, director of stocks at Simpler Trading? And so I know we have some new faces here, so it's a little bit of humor here, but this is where you guys can find me over at Simpler Trading. I've been trading for full time for nearly 2 decades and developed the Moxie indicator to make sense of what to look for in the charts, even though it looks kind of chaotic. This is the kind of stuff that I can teach you guys so that, after a while we speak the same language and you actually get to understand what it is I'm looking at, and then you can come along for the trading ride that we do. Right. And then I also know a lot of people who knows me know my background and always like to see some fun pictures. So speaking of my dad, here he is. This is in our other airplane. This is the Mall MX-7. It's a tail dragger. And then over here on the bottom right, this is the Glass Air 3. This is the sporty one. And you can see here on the left-hand side, that's the inside of the Glass Air. This is at night. We were doing some night flying, taking me up to Painfield and all that. You can see the big 777 airplanes in the background. And we upgraded this instrument panel during COVID. We got a lot of money during COVID, so we are like, well, let's go invest it in some place. So we upgraded the instrument panels. And then anybody who hasn't seen it, I made a video probably 2 weeks ago about my trading setup. It's kind of like, trader setup, trading desk setup. So if you guys wanted to see that, this is what my trading desk looks like. Usually I would be standing here, but I'm out of town. And so I'm on my laptop, but yeah, got that, got the fun toy pictures up here. And yeah, go check out that video if you guys want. Maybe we can put a link in the chat or something. And then we do our own work on the airplanes. So you can see here, we're actually doing some brake repair, just general maintenance, and we do a lot of different work on it. I grew up working on the airplane, so I know this thing inside and out. We got our two cats. My wife told me that their birthday was just last week. They turned 1. So we got Finn and Otis. Finn is definitely the instigator. You can kind of tell with his look. And then we've been having such a great time with this market. I decided to buy a tractor. So, Lamborghini actually started with a tractor. So we're having a good time. This is kind of what it's like been plowing through these markets and having a good time and picking some sunflowers along the way. So yeah, have a good time with it. Okay, so here is another one of these previous slides. This is where I've been telling the Moxie traders in the room. I was like, guys, I've been working on this presentation, but I'm kind of have to completely revamp it now that the market's actually done what I was waiting for it to do. So this was the slide, again, back on the 9th, October 9th, I made these. I mean, talk about prescient. But the day before the market came down. And I said, I believe a sharp pullback is coming. I mean, talk about understatement of the year. And I said, I cannot pinpoint it yet, but once the low is in, it's kind of figured it's going to be buyable, which it was for a little bit. And I said, this is concerning. And this is what I've been talking about with the Moxie subscribers and traders. And I said, hey, look at the Moxie indicator on both the NASDAQ and the S&P. Like this isn't looking good. Okay, these are negative divergences that I'm seeing. And even up here, it's kind of hard to see. But at the very top of your screen, you can see the Moxie price trigger. This fired on the 9th, the day before the market came down. We got a red Moxie price trigger on the SPX hourly. I mean, first of all, we could see multiple days ahead of time that the Moxie indicator was not looking good. And then we actually got the Moxie price trigger the day before. So yeah, pretty wild. Pretty wild. And then let's kind of look at this. Here are a few other areas. If we look, we have the FNGU, which is the leverage ETF of the FANG stocks. We have the IWM, small caps, and we have the SPX. And all these things were telling us that something was going on. Look at FNGU. The FANG stocks kept going higher and higher and higher, even though the Moxie indicator was below zero. It's like, guys, this is kind of crazy. I mean, I don't know why this thing's going up. I don't think I can believe it. We shouldn't chase it. Wait for a pullback if you are going to try and buy it. But this could be a false long. Well, little did I know, it actually was going to be 100% right. But there's your double top, Moxie indicator below zero, and boy, what a move down that thing was. But I want to show you, these are repeatable things. Notice here, Moxie indicator below zero, got a down move. How about here? Moxie indicator was below zero, got a down move. Same thing here. Moxie indicator was below zero, got a down move. These are consistent and repeatable. And then you can see here, I don't know, months ago, whatever month that was, July, we could see the same thing very clearly on the IWM. And you can see the same thing here, price over the 50, Moxie indicator below zero. These things are repeatable and they show up, and we need to be aware of when they do start to show up because they're important and they help keep us out of buying the longs just before they're going to roll over. And so this is where I talk about being able to see beyond price. The market's tanked from apparently a very bullish position. I mean, look at the FNGO, look at the FANG stocks. They were at their tippy top, and then the market completely rolled over. And we had made new highs, new all-time highs, 2 days, twice for 2 days before the market finally rolled over. And so this is how the market is misleading. And if you just looked at price, you wouldn't see this kind of stuff. And so that's why I always kind of say that I can see beyond price and really what's kind of going on there underneath the surface and what's important. So here's another one. This is another slide that I was trying to build before the thing came down, because the whole idea was I'm expecting the market to pull back, meaning I don't really want to go chase the longs. I don't want to go load up on everything right now. This right now is the worst time to just jump in on all these trades. What we want to do is wait for the market to come down, because I said I think a hard pullback would actually set us up for a strong move into the year. And I said, okay, let's wait. Okay, we need to wait because you know what? Hey, traders, we're going to go shopping once we do get that strong pullback. Now, initially I kind of thought maybe Friday was that strong pullback. I was like, okay, cool. We're just gonna do this. We're gonna go shopping. Let's go buy some stuff. I think I bought a ticker or two or added to it or something like that. We actually did do a put credit spread on the SPX. We made 65% on it. Awesome. But now I'm starting to think there's some more downside in here. And so this excited me over here, that when we start seeing some juicy setups, this one's gonna have to wait a little bit because I think the market's gonna work its way a little bit lower. And so it's not quite yet time to go shopping. Okay. Now, is there anything new that has helped me grow the account? No. And this is really the important thing. I know a lot of times we like to have the new shiny thing or new doodads and this and that, the other thing, but it's the same Moxie indicator system. And it's just happened to be a really great market. And that's how we were able to take advantage of this. And the real benefit about this, and this is something that I really pride myself on, it hasn't changed in years. Now, maybe it's gotten better. I've kind of refined a few things. I'm getting just better at working the whole thing, but it means you don't have to keep learning new stuff. And that's really the important thing, because when I teach you something, I don't change it here. I don't change it there. Oh, my style. Oh, this has changed. No, it is the same thing that I've been teaching for years. And that means you just have to learn this one thing over and over and over and just get better at it and better at it. Just like me, I'm getting better at this every single year that I trade, and so will you. And so we've got some new people in here. Ritu, he was new to the room. He's like saying your sessions are really knowledgeable, and all your life that he stayed away from stocks because he did not like to lose money. I'm glad I joined your session when I got into this business. I love hearing that kind of stuff. Caleb, I know you're kind of relatively new to the room. You've been a good contributor, so thanks for being around. I wanted to say thank you for your education. Taking profits today to reset. Account is up 20% just this week. This is one of our great traders. He's having his own results. I can't prove any of his results, but that's what he's saying. But I know that from what I put out there, we're having a good time in the Moxie room and been successful at this kind of stuff. So I just want you guys to know that you can come along and join this ride and succeed. All right, so let me kind of show you some of these things. Some of the great trades that we've had, and this is honestly, it's just a fraction of the trades. We've been making a ton of trades because, well, the market's been going straight up for 6 months. But you look here, RCAT, this is one of my bigger ones that I keep trading. Obviously, it's been down today, but that's okay. Eventually we're going to go shopping. So in here, I was getting aggressive with it. We did a relatively short-term option on this, 300%. And you know what? If you guys look at RCAT now, you know that was a great exit. We got in down here, we exited up here. I did try to put on another trade, but got right out of that thing. Just like David said earlier with his letter, the market didn't look good. I got out of this thing. I'm protecting myself and I'm protecting you guys too. RX. This is another big fun one. We've actually put on another trade. We took another one off today. I think we made 80% out of that one, but the market's changing. We put it on here. We got out 160% gain on that one, pretty short order. Happy, very happy trade. IonQ, the quantum stocks. Boy, they have been going crazy. Look at this entry. This was a awesome, awesome entry for us, and we jumped all over this thing. And I actually left money on the table. This was 375% gain, and look at this thing. It kept going for a while. I didn't know how far this was going to go, so I like to take profits along the way. But holy cow, this thing kept going. So yeah, 375% on that one. And the thing that I want you guys to see, Moxie price trigger, Moxie price trigger, Moxie price trigger. The Moxie indicator fired before each one of these setups. And that is part of the repeatable thing that the Moxie indicator that I teach in my room and that everybody can benefit from when we start trading this system. You can even see that there was a second Moxie indicator that fired just before RCAT blew up to the upside on that one. So really, really good stuff in through here. Mather, do I do day trades or only swing trades? I do both. I'm going to actually talk to you a little bit more about that in just a second. But yeah, I do both. And I actually will say, since I've learned how to use zero DT options, those have actually helped me trade better swing trading options and just help me overall because it was like a crash course in really learning how markets move from day to day. So this whole thing has come together and just made me even more of a trader. Okay, so for all the success that we've had, of course, there are going to be some losers. Like, let's be honest about this, all right? We're not going to get out of this unscathed. We're going to have some losers. We're going to get beat up a little bit, but that is part of the stock market. That's part of learning, and that is part of the experience. That's just the experience of being human in this. Here's TTAN. Man, I had really high hopes for this thing. I really thought the company was good. They had good fundamentals, everything else like this. And you know what? Maybe it's going to work down the road. But look at this thing. I tried to get in here, and then we got out here break even. I tried to get in again, and then I got out with a small loss because it had earnings. And then it jumped up on earnings. I was like, great, let's get back in. And then it didn't work. And I thought, okay, well, it's been holding this range. How about I add to it? And then it bounced a little bit, and then it rolled over, and I got out for a loss. So this thing has just been all over the place. But this is how it goes, in, out, in, out, in, out. And you know what? It's just not working. It just isn't a stock that worked. But I have reasons for each of my entries. I had a consistent setup. It's just I'm at the mercy of this particular stock and it didn't want to work. And that's how these things go. Or how about Dutch Brothers? This has been another one. Now, to be perfectly honest with you guys, I violated my rules. There was no Moxie price trigger that fired on this thing. I went in early because I was trying to buy the dip on some options, and I thought I wanted to get in when volatility was down and low and cheap. And it worked out for about 3 days, and then it bear flagged and went even lower. And the Moxie indicator never fired. My rules never fired. And this was me totally just jumping the gun. And while I'm human and I will violate my own rules occasionally, and I know you guys will too, at least I have the rules, and at least I can go back and look at this and say, guys, this is where I went wrong. It never worked. It never fired. The Moxie indicator would have kept us safe if we actually listened to it. And so I think it's a good lesson. It's a good lesson to make sure that we stick to the rules that we've created and to the indicators that we have entrusted. Now, we have bounced a little bit, so pretty please stop going down. I keep joking with the Moxie traders like, oh, there's your double bottom. And we'll see if it kind of works from there. So it has bounced a little bit, and now I'm going to see if there's any kind of follow through to the upside. All right. So here is the fun one. This was the big 2040 or 2060% gain that I made on this one. Trading does not have to be always overly complicated. Like I said, even with the Dutch Brothers thing, I violated my own rules and I didn't wait for the Moxie price trigger, which you can see right here. Look at that. The Moxie indicator actually told us when momentum had switched positive, and then if it follows the rest of the rules, there's your entry. And it said the Moxie indicator did an incredible job at timing the entries. And the Moxie indicator called the SPX top last week, like I showed you guys at the beginning of this presentation. There you go. On the 9th, there was a red arrow right at the top. And the Moxie price trigger fired on the low as the SOXL, which is the leverage ETF of the semiconductors, was moving down. That's what's really strong. You can actually see here price was moving down and the Moxie indicator fired on the absolute low. I mean, it just doesn't get any more perfect than that. It really was. And so you can see here, this was the actual exit of that trade on the 15th, way, way, way up here. Perfect timing. You can see the market then pulled back after that. I mean, you get these like once in a while. I mean, how often do we go through a tariff tantrum? But it was a huge trade. The setup was there, and that just means that we can be consistent with this kind of stuff. All right. David, the Moxie indicator is a momentum-based tool. I don't want to give away all the trade secrets, but basically what we're trying to do is figure out momentum, rate of acceleration, and divergences, whether it's positive or negative, and just trying to figure out how much energy is in the move, and if we're running out of gas or if we're actually building up gas. So yeah. All right. Yeah, here's another thing. So as far as that situation, this is one of those secrets that I'll kind of put out there. I've been noticing that there's certain clues that show up on leverage ETFs, and it has to do with volume, that tell us when the lows are in. For the most part, nothing's perfect in trading, but for the most part, this works pretty well. And I saw that there was a massive volume spike that came in on the SOXL at the bottom of the tariff tantrum lows. And that, in addition to the Moxie indicator, was another thing that told me that this was the low and that we should get in. And that's what I did. And I'm starting to see these things, these clues, proliferate in some of the other leverage ETFs that we trade out there. So yeah, this is some of the stuff that I teach and I talk about in my room all the time, and that's part of why I wanted to show you guys this and tell you like, hey, this is what we do actually do inside of the Moxie room. Now, once again, you guys have probably seen this on one of the other videos, but I got an absolutely laugh. This is so funny. Brighter side, you just absolutely made my day when you posted this. Um, just to show you guys the kind of success that we've been having in the room, Brighter side said, my tax guy is going to be like, WTF, what did you do differently? And he's just going to whisper, Moxie. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. It's gonna be like, where did you just make all this money from? Moxie. I love it. I don't think it gets any better than that. Okay, now here's another fun one. Everything I just showed you about the SOXL and the leverage ETF and how we pinpointed the low, here was another one. AMD. I'm sure everybody saw that AMD went through the roof based on that OpenAI news and all that stuff. Do you think there were any clues? I know there were clues. I was telling the Moxie traders for a couple weeks ahead of that report that something was happening with AMD and that you guys might want to take advantage of this. Look at this. I even started posting about this on the 15th. The 15th was right here. So right there is where I started posting about this thing. The 15th, the 18th, the 24th, and the 26th. All these things. And I just kept telling everybody, hey, something's going on. Heads up. Here you go. I think you guys should do something about this. It's working. All right. And that is what happened. There were volume spikes. There was a double bottom. There was a Moxie price trigger. Everything was here. Everything. I'm telling you, everything that I teach, all the Moxie rules were all wrapped up inside of this. It's kind of like we joke, they say there's no insider trading, but somebody always knows something. And I think somebody knew something here. And I think a fair amount of people knew something because there was just a ton of volume that kept coming into this thing. And so surf fishing, speaking of leverage ETFs, he was saying that he's never had 8 leverage stocks in his account before joining the room. Glad to say that you did, making up for some early year mistakes. So yeah, again, more success. Happy to see you guys are doing pretty well and taking advantage of these leverage ETFs. So how about this? Look at this. This is what I was able to do with AMD. Remember, I have a variety of accounts. So I took a variety of trades. Some of them I took just stock of the leverage ETF. I made 70% and 100%. Managed to double my money on a stock. Some of the other ones I was trying to experiment. I took options on a leverage ETF, made 200%. Is that a lot? Is that not a lot? I was doing it more for an experiment. I wanted to see what it was like trading options with a leverage ETF versus just a regular stock. So I got more. I'll talk about that in another presentation. And then you can see here, I had a short dated one, and that thing totally blew up, 870% on that. And I also had a very far out of the money call that was from January, and it made just as much as the short dated call that was in the money. So that was kind of a fun little experiment to figure out, okay, you can make money on far out of the money calls as long as you have enough time, or you can do in the money as long as there's a very little time. And we almost came down to the same gain on that thing. Oh, Nasir, welcome. Hey man, I haven't seen you in a while. There is an elf shoe. There was an elf shoe on that AMD chart. So yeah, hope you're doing well, man. Larry over here was able to take advantage of the AMDL trade. Again, can't say I don't know how much he made or anything, but saying that he's paid for the subscription a few times over. So, congratulations. Good job. All right, now let's kind of move on to another thing. Maybe you guys have kind of heard a little bit about the thing that I call the Moxie Mutual Fund. Now, I just want to tell you guys this is a simulated fund. This isn't real. Sure, maybe some traders inside the room are taking trades based off this. They're getting ideas, whatever. But this is kind of a fun thing that I wanted to do. It was actually Emil kind of brought this idea up to me, and it's a way to kind of get some more engagement and get you guys kind of involved a little bit more, and also kind of thinking a little bit longer term because with us day trading and swing trading, I know we always want that like quick feedback, but I wanted the Moxie Mutual Fund, since we are in a pretty good market, I wanted the Moxie Mutual Fund to be like, okay, if we're going to pick these stocks from October to January, we need to have a longer time horizon. And we aren't going to stick to necessarily the tried and true Moxie rules. We're going to try and find good, strong stocks that we think will be higher in 3 months. Did you guys ever in school, like in grade school, do you guys ever have to do simulated stock trading with your teacher? I remember I did. We had to look up in the newspaper, pick a few stocks, write them down each week, check in on them, and kind of see how these things worked out. Um, so that's basically what this is. And for our trading program and our room, we can take polls. And so this has been a fun thing to where I will throw out either different sectors. So if you look here on the left-hand side, top left, you can see different sectors. And that's how we would say, okay, we're going to vote and we're going to pick nuclear names. Okay, then we go list some nuclear names and we go pick those. Or we're going to pick robotic stocks. Okay, we're going to pick a couple of robotic stocks and we vote on those. And you can see here how, sometimes you get some that are really dominating. Over here, BMNR, BMNU, the Ethereum stock. And then we went into some kind of other tech ones. And then we actually went a little bit different over here on the bottom right. I said, okay, we have all this tech. Let's get something a little bit different. Like let's do some of the metals or some industrial type name. And you can see Alcoa Aluminum won the vote on that one. And again, we can't say anything for sure. This is Emil and Andrew are actually tracking this. We have a live Excel spreadsheet that if you guys join the room, we'll just have it posted. You guys can pick that up and follow us and how we're doing with the Moxie Mutual Fund. So far, doing pretty well. So again, this is just a simulated account, having fun with it. And also, this was when I had just put that trade on RXRX, and the thing blew up the next day, and we made 80% on it in 2 days. So pretty cool. Also, Emil, your new all-time highs in your account, and then Kurt, I think he's relatively new to the room too, and he's having a great time with his account as well. Yeah, we're having fun in here. Okay, shifting gears again a little bit, I wanted to talk a little bit about Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I've been doing a deep dive in all this kind of stuff. I've been bringing some of this to the attention of the Moxie subscribers and the other traders out there. And, Bitcoin's kind of been stalling out a little bit. I think some people have been talking about, like, I don't know, the fourth wave, and this one's not quite following it as much. And even more, you guys know that Bitcoin, gosh, all sorts of records were broken last week. Not great records. And this is why you need to be careful with leverage. But there were a bunch of Bitcoin traders that just got completely wiped out last week on Friday. I mean, it was what, the second or third largest liquidation event in crypto because of that. And it's unfortunate. It really is. I hate to see people lose money and get hurt and stuff like that. But I think there were clues, and this is also the lesson of leverage. And I think what happened was Bitcoin broke out to new all-time highs last week. I think it hit 125,000 and change, and then it immediately turned around and just got drilled. And I think what happened is people bought the breakout. Now, breakout trading is good. It's got its own things to it, but I personally am not a breakout trader. And I think this is part of why. If we were going to buy Bitcoin, there were two potential entries. One was well before it broke out. The other one was, hey, I got to see a pullback before I can go back in. And when we started pulling back, it never stopped. And that is when it just got drilled into Friday and then Monday and then Tuesday. Okay, so this is another thing that I teach about pullbacks and how to buy pullbacks and how to make sure that you're not going to catch a falling knife. And Bitcoin happens to be just a perfect example of that. And so if you guys want to see more about this, come into the room, gosh, tomorrow or next week, and we'll talk more about Bitcoin and show you guys the first trade, um, the first potential trade entry on it, and then the second one that never happened because the pullback never actually stopped pulling back. I've got some things to show you. That being said, Ethereum has really been kind of the up and comer. We did take a couple trades right in through. Actually, I need to change that color. We took a couple trades up and through this area on SBET at the time and Galaxy and some other things that were related to Bitcoin and just crypto in general. So, we got our piece on this one. And since you could see up here that Ethereum was getting way overbought, that's okay. Expect a pullback. But I like the fact that it actually broke out to new highs in through here. And so I think that Ethereum is going to basically be the new hot thing that business will be built on. Again, if you guys start doing some research out there and all this kind of stuff, Bitcoin, okay, Bitcoin is digital gold, got that. Bitcoin, sure, it's going to go higher someday in the future. But Ethereum is kind of the new thing that's going to have to get some new adoption, and there are a lot of business cases. A new business blockchain, the rails of that finance and everything else is going to get built on. There's a lot here. And I know Solana is going to be also part of it too. But I think Ethereum is really kind of where it's at. So you guys need to really pay attention to Ethereum, pay attention to things related to Ethereum, and come into the room because we're going to be trading things related to that as well. BMNR, BMNU, take your pick. If you want to do some other things, okay. But I have a feeling that BMNR is going to be the most popular, the biggest, and kind of the one that really takes the lead as far as something related to Ethereum, as far as some of these, treasury stocks that they talk about. But anyway, this is a weekly chart of Ethereum. I think this is a really, really nice pullback. We haven't bought it yet. There hasn't been a signal. There hasn't been anything yet, but I like what's happening, and I will be watching this very, very closely because I think this is eventually going to come into support, and I think we should be seeing Ethereum higher into the future. So I'm actually, like I said, I'm getting very excited, waiting for this market to go down so I can go shopping again. Okay, that's kind of my stance on the market in general. All right, more stuff to kind of talk about that we discuss in the Moxie room to keep you guys um, figuring out, knowing, keeping you guys paced with the market, and so that you don't get surprised. We have been noticing and witnessing that breadth has been, trending down. Okay, and it hasn't really been too much of a problem. You can see that fewer and fewer stocks were participating in this rally as it got higher and higher and higher. I mean, again, it's kind of like a race. Only the best athletes are going to stay at the top. The rest of the pack is going to start falling away, and that's kind of what we've been seeing here. But at some point, all of them are going to start coming down. And I think we started seeing that today, literally today, because we started seeing some of the high flyers actually get hit today. And I think we're going to start seeing some more follow through to the downside. And you can see here, we're down to 34% of names are over their 20-day SMA. That's not great. Okay, less than half of names are over their 20-day, and I think we're going to see a little bit lower. I think we could see down to 10 or 20% before this thing is over. Okay, so we've still got room to the downside, and same thing with the 50-day. Only 40% of stocks are over their 50-day SMA. So yeah, and this kind of just reminds me of Warren Buffett's quote, "We need to be fearful when others are greedy." Case in point, the market has been going up for 6 months. We're seeing quantum stocks go through the roof. We're seeing crypto stocks, AI stuff go through the roof. Now, I'm not saying the party's over, but I'm saying we need to be aware of when these things are super high like this, and we need to be a little bit fearful. And that's why I started taking profits and getting out and protecting ourselves and all that kind of stuff. And then I want to be greedy when others are fearful. And I think that's what's going to be happening here. In fact, I just saw today a couple people posted the fear and greed needle, and it was over in like fear. So good. Let's get a little bit more. We need some more of this before the market can really flush and wipe things out, and then we can start over. Okay, so that's what we're going to be looking for. We're cautious right now, and we're waiting for the bottom to fall out, and then we can come in and start buying things up like Warren Buffett does. All right. Now, guys, are you ready? This is where we're going to get into some fun stuff about like where things are starting to move, okay, and where I think kind of the next couple weeks are. Once again, I had to make this presentation in two parts because we kept getting a moving target, really. It was a moving target. So you can see here, this was October 15th, yesterday, when I put this out. And you can see here that this post that I made was from yesterday morning. And I said, the last time that we saw the SPX in this similar configuration, which I'm talking about right here. So what I'm trying to show you is that. and this are exactly the same configuration. I said same configuration with the SPX. However, the UVIX, the VIX, is starting to look very different from the last time. Back then, the UVIX failed the hourly 50 pretty quickly, meaning the market was ready to go up because volatility was coming down. This time, the VIX and the UVX seem to be holding the hourly 50 and want to go higher. If this continues, it's making me think that the SPX could get rejected by the hourly 50 SMA and break below the hourly 200 and the daily 50 and have another leg lower. If this gets serious, the SPX weekly 21 might be in play. And that was yesterday. And if you guys saw today, there wasn't too much action from the SPX. We're kind of down here. But if you look at the UVX and the VIX, way up there. Okay. Something's going on. And I talked to some other of my professional trader friends and stuff. They're all saying the same thing. They're like, we have never seen the VIX move up when really the market hasn't fallen apart yet. So I don't want to be too like, disastrous or scary or anything else like that, but I don't know. I'm kind of thinking that if the VIX is getting ready ahead of the market, I feel like it's getting ready for kind of a big plunk down. So as long as you guys are kind of prepared for that, I think then you can avoid damage too much. You can trade it even. And then I think it's just as long as you were prepared for this, then you won't be surprised and your account won't get wrecked. Okay. And that's really what I'm trying to show you guys here is back here when the UVX went down, market still wanted to go in higher. But now that the UVX is starting to go up, you better start watching out, guys. Batten down the hatches, pull in some profits, raise some cash. This is not the time to just continue motoring forward and being super bullish. Okay. So that is my warning. That is my warning. Now, I don't think this is going to be the worst thing ever. I do eventually think that this is going to be a buy the dip situation, but for right now, we need to be a little bit careful. Yeah, and so here you go. Here's today, October 16th, today. Again, moving target with all these things as far as the presentation. Having the UVIX do this while the SPX flags is very concerning. I think the SPX is probably in a bear flag and risk on tickers today got hit. Okay, so I think we're starting to see this. RCAT came down, some the cryptos came down, like really just across the board, started to see some stuff come down. Trader Doc said, "Hey, the SPX hedge is doing its job. Great trade," and so we started putting some stuff on. Okay, we've been talking about this. We took profits today. We exited a few positions, and we put on some SPX hedges to the downside. So I'm prepared. Whatever happens tomorrow or over the next week or so, I can sit back, relax, and just enjoy it. So we're ready to go. But yeah, look at this. This is some crazy stuff happening from the UVIX. Like I don't know what else to make of this, guys, other than something's happening. All right. And you can see there's also been a noticeable difference in the volume that has been starting to come into this. Um, so yeah, whatever is going on, we're ready for it. Bring it, and let's see if we can get this market lower, and we can go shopping once that all happens. Uh, put in that bigger context, here is the weekly SPX. The reason I say the weekly 21 is in play is because you can see here, you can see there, you can see here. It went further, but went to the 21, and you can see here. Okay, we have not touched the weekly 21 since the tariff tantrum lows and since this market started going through the roof. Not only that, we basically came up here and we hit resistance. Okay, so you can see here resistance, 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 and what do? We tend to pull back from that. Okay, so I think that we're going to get ready for a pullback. I don't know, 6,400, 6,300. We don't know what kind of momentum might get going. I don't even know if this is going to happen tomorrow. Tomorrow's OPEX. Okay, so I don't need to worry too much about timing. I've accounted for timing. And while the market gets crazy like this, I've got my longer term positions for that. And we can also day trade. So I'm ready for this. Like, let's bring it on. Hopefully, I'm just around at my computer being able to take advantage of it. All right. So, guys, for all that being said, we're still in a bull market. Okay, the market is at new all-time highs. We have been seeing crazy action from across the board. The Fed is reducing interest rates. Okay, this is not the 2020 bubble all over again where we have inflation and they're going to try and put the genie back in the jar. They're not trying to raise rates. Okay, we're still in a bull market. This has been excellent trading for many months. I made between 300 and 420% account growth in 6 months. I know that seems great. Seems like a bubble. It's not yet. So far, I think this is a normal pullback, a normal cycle down action. And I've been doing this for more than half of my life, and I have seen nearly every market condition. That experience makes me a great profit pilot. And so you guys can use what I showed you here in this webinar, or if you're like me and want to get there faster, I like fast things, like fast cars, fast airplanes, join me and you can be my co-pilot as we fly through the market volatility. You guys like those corny phrases? Most traders fail because of time or money, and joining the Moxie room can help you shorten the time and protect your money, which is exactly what's happening today. We've got new people in the room. They're shortening their learning curve because they're in the room. They're listening to me. I've even had one person today. He's like, "Hey, when's the Moxie training video?" I was like, "Well, I'm on the mic every single day." And he said, "Great, I'm going to tune in. Let's watch." And protect your money. That's what we did today. Today was about protecting our money. Okay. So if you guys are interested, if this inspired you, come join the Moxie Indicator Room. And here are the specials that we're going to be running. Now, this is good until the 30th of October because it's the indicator of the month. They told me I got a special employee of the month parking pass, but I don't know where I'm going to do that because, it's down in Austin. So I guess I'm going to have to visit Austin in order to get that parking pass. But right now, we're going to be running these specials. If you guys want to get the basic, it's down here. It's 175, 100, 197. This is for just the mastery. This is just the trading room, and this is on a monthly basis. Okay, so if you guys want to just kind of come check it out, you know, low hanging fruit, come in once a month, you can check that out. Or you can come over here, you can do quarterly, get a little bit better value, and you get a couple extra things. You get the long-term Moxie setup breakout session, and you get the zero DT SPX breakout session. These are two classes. Each of them are about an hour and a half to 2 hours that I've taught. And I think if you ask anybody else in the room or anybody else in the comments, they're going to tell you that these classes are worth their weight in gold. Okay. I love them. I like to see longer term setups. And also, as I said, the zero DT way that I trade the SPX and day trade is in a way that I don't think a lot of other people show. In fact, I never saw anybody do it. That's why I had to figure it out myself. And now that I know it, I wanted to present it to you guys. And by doing this, by becoming a day trader and actually just learning this stuff, it really helped me with my options game, especially my swing trading options. I am so much better because I taught myself how to day trade with zero DT options. I'm telling you guys, check out the course. You're going to learn a lot. Now, if you really want, we've actually been seeing most people have been buying this, okay? This is really where the most value is. Most people buy this one because what you're going to get is you're going to get an annual subscription to the Moxie Indicator Mastery. And I think this is a great market. I really think this is a good market. It's not over. It's just pulling back. There's going to be lots more opportunity in the future. So stick around. This is how you get the best value. Not only do you get the long-term Moxie setups, you also get the zero DT breakout session. And if you don't have the Moxie indicator, this one includes the Moxie indicator. If you guys already have the Moxie indicator and you want to come in and get these kind of deals, talk to our customer support. They will hook you up. They'll make sure that you don't, overpay or whatever. They'll make sure you have what you need for the room. So come over to simplertrading.com/MIM Moxie Indicator Mastery, and that's where you guys can find out this kind of stuff. So let me run through a little bit more. I'll show you guys, I answer some questions here. I have this question all the time, like, "Hey, when are you going to be in the room?" I am in the room every single day, at least an hour. And sometimes you guys get lucky. I'm in the room twice a day. And I'm even in the room like 90 minutes on Friday in one particular session. So if you haven't gotten your fill of TG by the end of the week, I don't know what to tell you. I'm on the mic all the time. You guys are gonna have a good time with it. Um, as I said, we made the Moxie Mutual Fund because everyone has seen so much fun in the room. They're like, let's do more. I was like, okay, let's do more. So yeah, Eric and Chuckle Cartel were talking about how they really enjoyed their room a lot. Keep things simple, easy to understand. Been here a year and a half, best room ever. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. This is what it looks like on the dashboard. You can see we actually have the dates on the right-hand side, so you know every time I'm going to be on the mic. And on the left-hand side, we keep a trade log. We have the Learning Center. We've got archives, so everything at Simpler Trading is recorded. Okay, if you couldn't come in for a live session, it's recorded. You can watch it later. Everything's recorded. You won't miss anything. And then this is what the actual trading room looks like. So there you go. Now we got Eric showing up again. This is where I post alerts on the top left, keep you guys informed. You guys have a bunch of your comment section in the bottom. We have some really, really great traders in here. Okay, we have a lot of people who come into the room. They know what they're doing. You guys talk amongst yourselves. We have a good time. I even get some stuff from you. And then you can see here, this is the screen. I share my screen. Usually, I actually have two screens that I just keep on all day. And then when I come on, you guys can see me share my screen just like this. All right. As far as the breakout session, long-term Moxie setups, this is because we're in a good market. I think we're in a good bull market. We are in a bull market coming out of the 2021 or 2022 bear market, and we are just now starting to see a lot of stocks that have been laying dormant for 2 years starting to come up because interest rates are coming down. The economy is doing, it's doing okay, seems to be doing fine. And we've got some pro-business stuff going on. Okay, we've got a lot of growth going on out there, and we got this AI revolution. This is the time that we're starting to really look at longer term setups. And I know we have a lot of people who want to see these longer term things because they have bigger accounts or they want to trade a little bit slower. They don't want to day trade. They don't want to swing trade. They want to know like, how are we going to do this, longer term? And that's what I teach. And I think it was very impactful for a lot of people, really kind of opened their eyes. And again, with the zero DT, SPX, day trading, even for me, I am telling you guys, I was like, okay, this market's a mess back when we were going through the bear market. I needed to learn how to day trade because small caps weren't working, trades weren't working very well. The market was a mess. And so I taught myself how to day trade. And it was the best thing that I did. It taught me about options more. It taught me about just, watching the stocks throughout each day. I got better at day trading, and now I know more about options. And this thing actually helped me with my swing trading. So I think you guys should just kind of check it out anyway. Uh, Now, if you need a little bit of credit, I get it. You can do 0% interest for 6 months if you want to pay for it that way. So if you guys want some pay assistance, just go look at PayPal credit, and we work with them and offer that as well. Now, going back to this, I want to make sure some people have some questions. Hey, how is canceling? Canceling's easy. We don't make you jump through any hoops. We don't make you have to talk to anybody. You can just go on there, say, look, I'm done. I got what I needed. I'm out. Or, you know what? It wasn't for me. TG talks about airplanes too much and I like cars instead. So I'm going to be doing this. Um, Easy to cancel. You don't have to worry about getting looped into anything. And there's no guilt. Okay. Guilt-free canceling. But really, if you guys come on over here, we have three packages for you. You have the monthly, 197. We have quarterly, 547 per quarter. And that's when you start getting some of these bonus classes. But really, most everybody leans towards the annual because you get a really good deal on the mastery, which is the trading room. Plus, you get the Moxie indicator. That alone is, I think we run that thing for $500 or $600 right there. Plus these breakout sessions. Okay, so we're gonna leave this up. Remember, cancel anytime if you guys want. No hassles, anything else like that. Let me take a few looks at the comments, and we got a few minutes where we can answer some of these things. Yeah, okay, let's see. From someone, am I still into BM&R? I'm not sure where it bottoms. Yes, I keep saying BM&R is going to be one of my longer term trades. It has been going sideways for now. I'm okay with that. I've been building positions. I have longer dated calls on it. I'm okay with that. The market's pulling back. So of course, BM&R and Ethereum are not going to go up until the market goes up. So that's the thing. We just kind of have to weather the storm right now while the market pulls back. But you guys saw what I showed you with that Ethereum weekly chart. I see Ethereum going higher. I really do. It's really just a matter of when. And as long as you don't run out of time on your options, I think you're going to be fine on something like BM&R and Ethereum. Let's see, KB, what kept you in RCAT after the big pullback? Well, I'm not sure which big pullback we're talking about. Maybe there have been a few. Gosh, I'm trying to think how to answer that. Well, let me just say this. I think that the theme, because you also have to think about with the stock market, there's a theme behind it. We got the AI theme, we got drones, we got robots, different themes. RCAT, part of the big thing that happened with them is that they actually just got accepted into the NATO catalog. So now they can sell to everybody in NATO. That's a huge thing. And we saw a massive amount of volume that came in after that. So wherever pullback that you're asking about, the fact that they are now able to sell to all the NATO countries, yeah, I'm going to be sticking with RCAT. Maybe it's not going right now because the market's pulling back. Great, I'll buy the dip. That's all I have to do is buy the dip and just wait for it to go back up at some point. Okay. So yeah, very happy about that. You can also look at some of the other drone stocks, and they've been going vertical, as their name implies. Okay, let's see. How much for your tick indicator? Oh, I don't have a tick indicator, Mark. Yeah, I don't have one of those. If anything, I have a public one that I use for my in my internals chart, but that's nothing special. I think you can just find tick indicators. That's here, nice. Yeah. You think you're going to need more Moxie Room time to refresh your elf shoe spotting skills. I love it. Yeah, Nasir, it'd be great to see you back in the room. I hope you and your family are doing well. Also, I really need to get back to you about that indicator that you sent me. In fact, Nasir, I think if you want to email me, I think you and I should find a time to screen share so you can teach me about that indicator. I just haven't had the time to learn it on my own. Okay, let's see. Yeah, Jerry, sorry. No airplane videos, but if you come into the Moxie room, I do share videos and pictures that way. I'm on the mic every day. Got to have some stuff to talk about. I wanted to keep this presentation nice and tight. But yeah, if you guys want to see some airplane stuff and car stuff, let me know. I've got all sorts of videos. I also used to race cars, and so I've got some videos of that if you want to see. I have one actually where my engine blew up and put me into the wall. That was a fun one. Let's see, Mather, you trade 0D DT SPX and make between 50 and 100% returns every day. Awesome. Glad to hear that. You're consistent. And you're a seven-figure trader and need help to move to eight figures. Hey, man, I think you're in the right place. I think you're in the right place. And when it comes down to trading, whether you trade a small account or a big account, it's the same. It's the same. It's the same setups. It's the same management. You just do different zeros. Put the comma or the decimal place in different points. And that's what I do. So, Mather, it would be great to see you come over into the Moxie room. When you do, say hi, let me know it's you, and we can have a conversation. All right, let's see what else we got out here. Yeah, Adam Hopkins, yeah, you're looking for the SPX to go down. You got some bear call spreads. Yeah, yeah, we've got a few things on, don't we? Yeah, we're ready for it. Um, James, do I trade metals like gold, silver, GDX? I wish I was. Gosh, if I had known that gold was going to do what it did, I'm sure I would have taken a piece. But no, I don't normally. There was a time that I used to trade GDX, but honestly, it just goes so. It's kind of a messy stock, so no, I don't really trade it. I will say right now I am short the GDX, which is going against me. So yeah, that's not really fun, but I kind of feel like the precious metals are going absolutely parabolic, and I just don't know how much longer they're going to last without a pullback. So I'm willing to hang on to my piece of the GDX for now, to see if we're going to get a pullback or a turn down sometime in the near future. So that's kind of where I'm at. All right, let me kind of scroll to the bottom. Looks like we're kind of wrapping up here as well. So I hope you guys had a good time with uh, with everybody else in the chat room. Elad, do I have a swing trading service? Yes, absolutely. This is it. So I day trade. I put those alerts out. I also swing trade and I put those alerts out. So if you don't have time to actually be in the room live, that's okay. Everything that I do in the room live, I also put out as an alert. So you won't miss anything. You could be at work on your computer doing what you need to do, and the alert will show up right on your phone. And I tell you exactly what I'm doing, whether I'm buying, selling, managing it, getting stopped out, taking profits, you name it. I keep everybody up to speed on what I'm doing. Amy, do I take profits based on the Moxie indicator or do I take profits based on other chart lines? It's a combination of the two. Um, if I start to see the Moxie indicator actually fire red, like those Moxie price triggers, I will get out of the trade completely. That's different than taking profits. I will take profits usually when price just gets extended. And yes, I use other tools in order to help tell me that. But yeah, if price just kind of went vertical, yeah, I'm going to take some profits because most likely there's going to be a pullback at some point. Let's see. Cool. I think you guys are getting a lot of these things answered too. And then Mather, let's see, do I post trades on X and YouTube? No, I don't post trades there because there's a little bit of a legal issue for me. I don't want to have to track those things down, and I don't feel good just posting a trade and then like not following up with that. That's really what my room is for. That's where I put my time and attention. Now, I do make weekly videos, market update videos. So if you want to check out my YouTube channel, you can see that. I do talk about some forward guidance on things, and then I also do weekly reviews to kind of tell people what's been happening. But no, I don't put out live trades on X or anything else like that. Oh yeah, Kelly, good to see you, man. Yeah, good to see you. And do I suggest how to position size each trade? I do things pretty simple. I do 5 or 10% of my account. And if I'm going to go bigger, I'll let you guys know. Yeah, for example, like on that UVIX trade, I told people we're going bigger. And I said, hey, 10% of the account, like bigger. We're going bigger on that trade. Yeah, it'll add where you can see the history of the trading performance if you go to the trading spreadsheet. So on the Moxie dashboard, that's where you can find it. Okay, well, looks like we pretty much captured everything. Gosh, my timer says 1 hour and 2 minutes. I think that's a pretty good timing right here. So thanks, guys, keeping everything a nice tight hour. For any baseball fans, you might know that the Seattle Mariners are now in the championship playoffs. My wife is all about it. In fact, I had to leave her at the bar today just so I could come back and do this presentation. So now I'm going to wrap up with you guys. I'm going to just hurry on over to the bar. I hope the Mariners are doing better. They weren't doing great last night, but they did beat the Blue Jays twice up in Toronto, and then they gave us something back yesterday. It was not a great game for us yesterday. So. But yeah, any baseball fans out there, that's what I'm going to be doing right now after this. And I hope you guys have a good time enjoying it too and watching it. All right, guys, I will check you later. See everybody tomorrow. Good luck with the markets. Careful out there, and we shall see what's in store next week. All right, guys, thanks again. And everyone at Simpler Trading, thank you for all the help. Lorna, Miranda, Mirza, you guys name it. I got more people that I can even thank, but thanks for all the helps.